All right, lines 201 to 249. The lines that are skipped here are are a lot. Essentially, after Laocoon throws his spear and strikes the wooden horse in defiance of it being a gift or being welcomed into the city, a man is brought before the whole crowd of people, a Greek man by the name of Sinon, who tells a long sob story of how he came to be in custody of the Trojans and abandoned by the Greeks, seemingly, I should say, abandoned by the Greeks. It's all made up, and you can go read it if you like. But the bullet points are that he's again this is all made up by Sinon as a plant story that he's hated by Odysseus, and Odysseus wants to make him a human sacrifice to be for safe passage back to Greece from Troy. They had done a human sacrifice of Iphigenia to get over there in the first place. It's another kind of tangent, but anyways, Sinon tells this whole story, and it's a whole sob story. Eventually, they just decide Sinon runs away, hence why they find him. And in his absence, they decide rather than doing a human sacrifice, they'll just create this massive structure of a Trojan horse and make an offering of it to the gods and to Troy as a peace offering. So that's Sinon's explanation. Again, Sinon is a plant. He's actually he's later on going to open up the horse and let out all the Greeks who are hiding inside once it's brought inside the city. So Laocoon here now, after Laocoon doesn't listen to the story of Sinon, nor does he believe it. All the other Trojans do, and then giving further credence to Sinon's story of its validity is this divine act. Now remember that Laocoon had essentially defiled the horse, an item that's sacred to Athena, by throwing his spear at it. So here there's going to be divine retaliation for Laocoon's action. So here Laocoon, Doctos, chosen as a sacerdos, as a priest as a priest for Neptune by lot. So I think Neptuno here is a dative, so he's chosen as a priest for Neptune, and then he's chosen sorte by lot. Laocoon, he was Maktabat, he was sacrificing a huge bull, and Salomnes here again another I stem at the solemn or sacred altars. Behold, however, twin, and you don't really get what the two things are here until you get down here with Anguez, twin snakes from Tenedos through the tranquil waters. I shudder recalling uh, snakes of immense coils. They lay upon the sea, and side by side, pariter, equally, if you will, they reach towards the shores. Uh, and quorum here, I think, referring to the snakes, their chests, erecta, stand up amidst the waves, and their bloody crests rise above the waves as well. The other part, though, from behind, uh, or sorry, pone, from behind, it skims pontem the water. So their tails skim the water, and they coil up they coil up their backs here, their immense backs in a large coil. A little redundant there, but whatever in English. A sound happens with the sea foaming, appellate absolute, or from the foaming sea. I guess you can also do place from which. And also now they have, or already now they hold the beaches, the dry land, and we have some the middle participles here. Um, let's see, they are suffused as to their eyes. They're poured out as to their eyes with blood and fire. Their burning eyes, right? I think this is Ardentes again. Their burning eyes. While they're licking their hissing mouths with vibrating tongues, as you've ever seen snakes do that, their tongues vibrate when they stick out. We all flee, pale or bloodless, literally, but pale, visu, from the site or at the site or because of the site, and as a supine form there, that verb video. Uh, they, the snakes here, angues, well, Apple of Absolute in a fixed battle line or the battle line fixed, Petant, they seek out Laocoon. There's a Greek accusative form. There's a lot of Greek forms going on, by the way. The middle voice that was mentioned earlier, it was suffecti, middle participle is a Greek concept being applied in Latin. Middle voices, if you ever think of deponent verbs being odd, they're a remnant of the middle voice. Anyways, and at first, the snakes here, yeah, well, I think serpens, yeah, Uterque, there it is, yeah, because there's two of them. Each snake, right? Each snake at first, it implicat, it entwines the little bodies of his two Natorum, of his two sons. If you notice the word order there, it's interlocked, um, further suggesting this entwining that's going on, and embrace them in plexus. Um, and each snake here again devours the miserable limbs in a bite of those two boys. Oh, yikes, that's scary. After, so this I think adverbial after, they Coryppion, the snakes again, they snatch up him, the guy himself, Laocoon, Sabuentem, coming up for help, auxilio, and bearing spears to try to get these snakes off his sons. And they bind, I think, him again, ipsum. They bind him in huge coils, and they're huge coils. And also now, they embrace maybe like ipsum him about the middle, bis twice. And twice, bis, you an anaphora here, and twice they given, I guess, having surrounded as to their back, their scaly backs, they they rise above, or with their scaly backs, they embrace around they conquer his neck, I think, right? The Latin here is a little bit wonky for me. And they surpass with their heads and their tall necks, but they wrap themselves essentially with their scaly backs around his neck, so they're choking him out, and they rise above, so obviously they can continue to move even in their constrictor position. They rise above with their head and their lofty necks. That man at the same time tended he this is like tries almost. He tries to fellere, to like tear at the nodos, the coils or the knots, manibus, with his hands. Again, another, I think, yes, this is another a middle participle, having been perfumed, accusative of respect as to the garlands or the headbands with poison. Yeah, with blood. I think that's blood. With blood and black poison. Veneno. Oh, veneno. What a word with love vowels. At the same time, so another simile. This time and at that time. Um, let's see. Oh, this is Laocoon. He raises terrible, horrendos clamoras, terrible shouts to the stars. And then we have an epic simile, just as the groans when a wounded Tauros, a wounded bull, Fugit escapes the altar, and excusit, it shakes off the incertam securum, the ill-placed securum is an axe. This is this is what the I stem accusative looks like with im there. It shakes off an ill-placed axe from its neck. So I guess the sacrifice gone wrong. Which is weird that Laocoon is compared to a bull when he himself at the beginning of this passage was performing a sacrifice of a bull. So he kind of becomes the bull in a way of the sacrifice of Troy. But the twin snakes here, well, Dracona is the word. So the twin snakes, they effugiant in the next line in jammed. They escape here. They escape to the highest shrines, Lapsu, by gliding. So these snakes are like, I always think of them like magic snakes. They're never moving on the ground. They're just like floating in the air. Like the dragons in Zelda. They seek out the citadel of Tritonia, of Athena, of Minerva, And under her feet, under the feet of the goddess, and under the round part, orbe, clipe, of her shield, Tegunter, they hide themselves. Another kind of middle verb there with Tegunter. Say can be implied if you want to, but the middle passive voice in Greek, they look the same. So I think Virgil's playing off of that here with Tegunter. Then truly, novus, a new, a fresh, pavor, a fresh fear, insinuate, like kind of creeps in through the trembling chests. Cunctis, I think it did a reference of everyone. So everyone's trembling chest, a new fear creeps in. And Ferrantir, they say, is the same. Ferrantir is the same kind of meaning as Digunt. They say, and then indirect speech, they say that Laocoon expenice he paid for Scelus merentem, his deserving crime. Let's see. Laocoon qui, who Lycerit, as perfect subjunctive because of the subordinate clause within indirect speech, who harmed the sacred oak, cuspide, with his spear point, and he hurled his wicked spear upon its back. Scaleratom here, obvious transferred epithet. The spear is not wicked, but rather the man who hurled it is the wicked one, so transferred epithet. So he hurled his wicked spear upon its back. Verb here in the next two lines. Notice this is one of the incomplete lines that indicate that Aeneid was not finished when Virgil died. So they all shout. I think they all shout kind of like for, expressing purpose here. For the horse, ducendum, equum ducendum, so for the horse to be brought. Oh, it's the simulacrum, isn't it? It's the effigy, which is the horse, to be brought or to be led, sedes, to the homes, or essentially into the city. And Numina, the divine power, dui, of the goddess, referring to Minerva for her divine power, oranda, to be praised. These are good examples of gerundives acting as adjectives modifying nouns. Let's see. De dividimus murus, they divide the walls, and pandemus, they open the walls of the city. A little bit of what do you call that? Hendiades, where you say the same thing twice over. He's good and tired. Akingunt omnes. Let's see. They all surround. Oh, yes, they all are like equipped even. They all surround for the work. Um, let's see, they Sabikian, they place under the horse, right? The effigy, the simulacrum, they place under lapsus, they place under glidings of wheels, and they place them under pedibus, the horse's feet. And intended, they stretch out stupea vincula, hempen rope, and they stretch it out colo, around or upon, or even just to its neck. That's a dative there. Scandit, the fatal, or yeah, the terrible or even fated, the inescapable machine. Scandit, it scales the walls. Feta here modifying machina, pregnant or teeming armies with weapons. Boys and unwed girls, they conant, they sing sacra, sacred things or sacred songs. Kirkum here, adverbial, they sing around it. They're like dancing around it. And saying the boys and girls, they rejoice to touch the rope that's being used to help draw in the horse. They to touch this rope, Manu, with their hand. See that the illa here referring to the machina. So the horse here, subit, it enters, and Minon's menacingly, it in labiter, it slips into medii urbi, into the midst of the city. And then we have some apostrophe here. O patria, O country, O house of the gods, Ilium or Troy, and the walls, Moenia, um, their Dardanian walls, the walls of Trojan walls, those walls include a unconquered bellow by war in war. Four times in the threshold itself, quater, four times in the threshold itself, portai of the gate. The horse here, the machina, it stood, and it four times the an, an the repetition of words there, four times a shortened verb form here, dederunt, dedere. The four times, let's see, weapons gave a sound from the belly. Uh, Instamus, we press on, Tamen, nevertheless. Um, Unawares and Kaiki and blind furore with madness, just even excitement here. And the unlucky monster, the ill-omened monster, we stood it. Socrata here has got to be Ablida. We stood it upon the sacred citadel. Then even also, Cassandra here, she opens, I assume, yeah, her mouth here. Ora, she opens her mouth with future fates. Oops, with future fates. Um, at the command of the god, here Cassandra is condemned by Apollo to have clairvoyance to be able to predict the future, but no one believes her. So this is what's being referenced. So Cassandra here is shouting, "Don't take the horse in! Everyone's gonna die!" And no one's listening to her. So Cassandra, she opens her mouth at the command of the god, her mouth not ever credita, not ever believed or entrusted to Chris, to the Trojans. I think dative here. I suppose you can say dative of agent, but a credo usually takes dative with it as well. Anyways, um, yeah, Valamus here is the we, isn't it? Misery, we wretched. Um, we velamus, we decorate the lubra de orum. We decorate the shrines of the gods. We quibus, for whom ultimus esset ille dies, for whom that day, ille dies, that day esset would be ultimus, the last. Oh dear. We decorate, anyways, those shrines. And how do we decorate them? Festa, here macron of the A, with festive fronde, with festive garlands, and we decorate per urbem throughout the city.